Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. I'm Rishabh Gulati. 48 hours ago, India unilaterally held in abeyance the Indus Waters Treaty between India and Pakistan. This water treaty was signed as riparian states sharing water as per norms and protocols under the premise that of undivided India's northern rivers after the partition of 47, what would be the water sharing between India and the newly formed state of Pakistan. When it was concluded, it was decided that 30% of the waters for India, 70% of the waters for Pakistan. For 60 years, India allowed most of its own share of 30% of the waters to also flow into Pakistan. For 60 years, more water went to Pakistan than was even mandated as per the Indus Water Accord. This accord operationally is now history. So, what's the impact in India? Nothing. Now, you would think that a matter which involves infrastructure that by its very nature perforce has a long term gestation period, the immediate impact in Pakistan itself also would be nothing. Because we were true to our words, we didn't build the dams, we didn't build the diversions, we didn't build the canals. We will start building them now, maybe from tomorrow. But you'd think that the reaction in Pakistan would also, other than medium or long term panic, would be nothing. But you'd be wrong. Have a look at this. Within 48 hours, look what happened. The Dawn News has just reported a few hours ago that the government has agreed to halt the construction of new canals until consensus amid Indus Water Treaty (IWT) suspension uncertainty. The government on Thursday announced that it was halting the contentious Canals project until a consensus on the issues could be reached in the Council of Common Interest (CCI) amid opposition for many quarters in the country and uncertainty created by India's unilateral suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty. Chief of the Army Staff Asim Munir and Punjab Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz had inaugurated the ambitious Cholistan project to irrigate South Punjab's land on February 15th. Incidentally, amid public uproar and strong reservations in Sindh. The Sindh Assembly had also passed a unanimous resolution against the project in March. So, guys, guess what? This is the truth that pours out from the waters of the Indus that reach Pakistan. And the truth is that all the waters were used to make the Western Punjabi Pakistanis rich, and those are the ones really upset about potentially losing water, not the Sindhis, not the Balochis who saw nothing. And the canals that they were building as of February this year would have delivered even more water to Punjab and taken it away from Sindh. And there was already chaos happening in Sindh over this. Lawyers are in revolt, leaders are in revolt, people are in revolt. Pakistan is a strange and murky place. Let's open up this conversation. Joining us on the broadcast, I have Sharad Kohli with us, Gautam Mukherjee is with us, Amjad Ayub Mirza is with us. He is joining us from the UK, and Barrister Ali Tahir is with us. Barrister Tahir, I appreciate you joining us on this telecast. We are in unhappily difficult times, and under those unhappily difficult times, obviously we will be having unhappily difficult conversations, but let's try to make the best of it, sir. Can you help us understand what was the issue with this Cholistan project?
Thank you very much for having me on your show. First of all, I do understand that the region has a little bit of disturbance, but let me, just start first off by saying that I am somebody who believes that if this region has to develop, all of us have to live in peace. And the saner minds from both sides of the region have to come together, and we have to decide that whatever we are doing, other regions are not doing this. Europe did not develop out of the blue. They developed because they had cooperation, they had freedom of movement, they had freedom of people, they had freedom of goods, freedom of services, and this is something that any reasonable, sane mind would have to sit down and talk about. Obviously, on both sides, you'll find the hawks who would say, okay, I'm more powerful, I'll destroy you, I'm more powerful, I'll destroy you. So I'm the sort of the first person.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, sir, but are you trying to say that the people in Pakistan who considered that they are the more powerful country?
Sorry, can you come
again? There are people in Pakistan who think that Pakistan is the more powerful country.
I mean, there are people in India, there are people in Pakistan, there are people in Bangladesh, there are people in the USA. You see the social media, you will.
No, the US is a powerful country. So if they think they're a powerful country, they'd be right. But people in Pakistan think that they are a very powerful country.
I mean, if you're trying to insult me here.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm asking, is that the general perception?
I'd have a quirk back over as well, but I would not melt down that immaturity.
No, sir. My question was, what is the Cholistan project? Your answer was that people think we are powerful countries. Sorry? I wanted to ask you about the Cholistan project. So I'll go back to that question. What is the Cholistan project?
Yes, thank you very much. So let's go back to that rather than have immature quirks at each other. Now, if we go back to where Cholistan is, now the Cholistan project, I am a big opponent of that. I have remained an opponent of that. Just yesterday, the government has already announced that they are going to cancel that project. They are going to nex it. And I think that says scores about the fact that we in Pakistan, especially the regions of Balochistan and Sindh, we have our say in the Federal Democratic Republic that Pakistan is, and we've had our voice heard as well. That project has been nexed. Of course, there were reservations in Pakistan about it. I was one of the, perhaps one of the people who...
What was the reason for the reservations, sir? What was the concern?
Of course, you see, so the region I live in is a lower riparian area. And if water has to be stored in an upper riparian area or it has to be diverted there, perhaps there has to be more consultation about it. The stakeholders need to be taken on board. And this is something that has to be approved by the majority at large.
No, I appreciate your semantical representation of lower riparian and upper riparian. Could I translate that for the people, sir? To suggest that the water would have gone to South Punjab instead of Sindh?
Sorry?
The water would have been channeled to South Punjab instead of Sindh? Is that roughly what would have happened?
And yes, that is the idea why there was agitation.
Okay, so there was agitation. Now, yeah, so now we have been told that this project has been scrapped amid uncertainty about the Indus Waters Treaty. So, was the protest on this ongoing? Was there an issue up until 2 days ago, or did this issue start 2 days ago?
No, the issue was there for quite a long time, to be very honest, and this has been going on for pretty much a couple of months now. Of course, the agitation took what you would say a more strong wave last week, and that is why the federal government had to back down, and they said, okay, we're not going to go ahead, we're not going to build these canals. If you would see, I actually have a column that was published today in the news. It's the largest Pakistani English newspaper that is read over in Pakistan, and that I've already discussed all of what you've said. So the prime concern really was the water availability, whether there would be some regions where water would not reach if these canals were made. Now, insofar as the Indus Water Treaty goes, this is, of course, we understand, a part of customary international law as well now. The mediator who sits...
I'm going to come to that next, because I'm just trying to understand internal developments preceding the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, which happened less than 2 days ago. So you are saying that this protest was going on for some time before that happened. Is there a concern in certain quarters, sir, that the ruling establishment of Pakistan, most of whom, all the prime ministers and army chiefs, happen to come from one specific region, were trying to steal water from other parts of Pakistan?
Well, I mean, to be very honest, I'm not going to wash my dirty laundry in front of you. Insofar as your answer is concerned, I would just, very blandly give you a no. This is not a concern within the academic or intellectual circles within Pakistan.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. All right. So let me get perspective here. Sharat Kohli is with us, and Gautam Mukherjee is with us. Dr. Kohli, let me come to you now. As far as the Indus waters are concerned, I have already mentioned India is in its planning, in its execution over the past 60 years, not been relying on Indus water. We let even whatever our quota used to be flow into Pakistan. So, this is not a point of concern for us at this present moment. You and I are not losing sleep over this. Do you think it is a point of concern for Pakistan?
Well, good evening, Rishabh. Good evening to my fellow panelists and Newsx viewers. Yes, it's a major concern. If you look at the Punjab area, I'm sure Barrister Ali would agree with me. About 93% of the irrigation that happens in that area is dependent on the water coming from at least these three rivers. Well, $25 billion is the total amount of export that Pakistan is doing. Out of that, about more than 30% comes from agri sector. I mean, there are food grains and there are other staple crops being exported to all around the world. They have some geotagged, crops as well. So it's going to majorly impact. And, Punjab is out and out agriculture. We should not forget that almost half of the workforce of Pakistan is dependent on agriculture. So when agriculture gets impacted because of irrigation, obviously the whole economy gets impacted. And it's not that, I mean, with due apology to Barrister Ali, I would say that it's not that Pakistan economy is booming right now. They have a problem of inflation. They have a problem of unemployment. They have a problem relating to foreign exchange reserves. The rupee versus the Pakistani rupee versus dollar is in a bad shape. It's almost touching close to 300 or whatever, it's heading towards 300. So I think the situation vis-a-vis economy is not hunky-dory. So with Indus water getting diverted now and will not be allowed to go into Pakistan, the treating being suspended for now or being in abeyance for now, I think it's going to create immediate water problems. And we should not forget this is the crop season. This is the sowing season which is going to come. So I think the monsoons can also be erratic at times, and then the regular water flow will be impacted. And then we should also not forget that part of this water is also being used for drinking water, for potable purposes. So I think the entire economy of that part of Pakistan, which is Punjab, will be impacted. And Punjab is a very, very important province as far as Pakistan is concerned. I'm sure it's going to make a big dent, Rishabh, on the economy overall.
Okay, so let's be clear. Water is a concerning issue for everyone in every country all over the world. Too much water is a problem, too little water is a problem. And the worst situation happens when during one season you have too much and when during one season you have too little. And these parts of the world also exist. They exist in many countries, including ours. But for 60 years, our computation and calculation has not been reliant on waters coming from these rivers which come under the Indus Water Treaty. Incidentally, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has now made a clear statement that Jammu and Kashmir and its people and its government have never been in favor of the Indus Water Treaty because it is highly unfair to Jammu and Kashmir. So that's a statement to put on record. Let me get Gautam Mukherjee into this conversation as well. Now, Gautam Mukherjee, I will seek your outsider's opinion on what you suspect has happened regarding the cancellation of these canal projects, because in my uneducated view, it seemed like that the protests were going well before there was even any consideration on the Indus Water Treaty, and the protests were happening because the Pakistani Punjabi elite was trying to steal water from the Sindhis and Balochis.
Well, I think the last part of what you just said is absolutely true. Punjab is the upper riparian state, just as India is the upper riparian state for all the 5 rivers. Punjab is the upper riparian state, West Punjab, when it comes to Sindh. and the People's Party of Sindh, PPP, the Bhuttos, have protested that new canals are being built for areas which are owned by rich Punjabis and for their personal benefit to set up wonderful farms. And now they've stopped the canal. They don't want to waste their money because if not today, then tomorrow they're not going to get this water from India. Now, looking further back, how did this very strange treaty come about in the first place? In the late 50s and 60s, India was practically starving. It was dependent on food aid. It was begging the World Bank for loans.
Correct.
And so the World Bank pretty much forced India, Nehru at the time, to put out this unique and most unfair Indus Water Treaty. Nobody else in the world has anything like it. The water that is given by the US to Mexico has been cut back. They had a much, much lighter treaty than this, and they cut even that back. The Chinese don't believe in it. They believe all the riparian, since they're upriver in the Brahmaputra, they believe all the water is theirs to do with as they please. They don't inform India unless we pay them as to what is going on over there in terms of river flows.
Okay.
Other than that, they're
Okay.
building dam
So again, let me rephrase my question, sir, to come back to the point. Do you think that and I'm Punjabi, okay? Thankfully, my grandparents chose the right side of the border. Otherwise, I would be sitting in an unpleasant place right now. But do you suspect that this canal project, which was announced on the 15th of February, was actually a Punjabi Pakistani project denying water to Sindh and Balochistan, primarily Sindh? Do you suspect? Yes or no?
Well, it's not a yes or no question. What means is they will get a trickle, we will get a flood.
Okay.
We will use all the water we want, we'll give them whatever is left.
Okay.
So it is blatantly go to hell Sindh, go to hell Balochistan, double.
Okay.
We are Pakistan for all intents and purposes. You people are our vassals.
All
now
right.
this is why Pakistan will break up, because all the states other than West Punjab are treated extremely in a second-hand manner by the West Punjabis, and they will find out what this means. Now, in more ways
of
than
course,
one, India has had it up to the water has gone above the nose.
Okay.
And
all right.
India is
So, of
going
course,
to deal
Ali ji
with
will
it.
dispute
Now, in
that
addition
statement.
to that,
Yes.
all the smiling barrister Tahir Ali will soon be out.
Okay, but
we
no,
will see
of course.
what the rest of the states do to the West Punjab.
I don't know. I don't know
where
what's going to happen.
Ali Tahir is from.
I
probably
don't
Punjab.
know what has happened, but if you think that countries can't collapse, well, they can, they do, they have in the past. So that's not necessarily to say that anything is going to happen. It might not. We don't know. But Barrister Tahir, let me ask you then this question, sir. The Indus Water Treaty, which has been in force for 60 plus years, was suspended by India day before yesterday. Does anybody in Pakistan know why?
So now, you see, let's try to catch the situation from the very head on. I've heard Mr. Kohli as well. I've heard Mr. Gautam as well. I've heard you as well call Pakistan an unpleasant space. I will not go back to that fifth grade back and forth and
No, I graduated fifth grade very well, sir.
I wouldn't do it.
I graduated. I'm neither immature nor illiterate.
Pakistan an unpleasant place.
It is an unpleasant place. I wish you pleasantness in it.
My argument, and I'm not calling.
Why do you think that India has cancelled this treaty, sir?
My brother, I have a lot of Indian friends. I am not going to
I know a
offend
lot of
any Indian
Pakistanis, sir, and
whoever,
they call it
every
an unpleasant
Indian
place, which is why most of them are living in
No,
England
but you'll have to
or in
you'll have to
Dubai.
let me finish. You'll have to let me finish
And
my
most of your
argument,
friends
because
will
I'm
also be
doing this
living in
very
England and
respectfully.
Dubai. You also know it. So, my
Sorry?
question to you is, sir, do you know why India has ended the Indus Water Treaty day before yesterday? Do you know why?
I mean, if you let me complete, I would be able to answer your question.
But you
If
don't
you
answer
want
my question,
something
which is why I'm asking it
about
again. Why have we ended the
that is
treaty?
your wish, it's not going to come out that way. So you'll have to let me give you your answer uninterrupted. Let me speak, and you'll get your answer. Now, if you look at the words that India itself has used, I don't think you've read the document. If you would have read the document, you would have noticed
Which
the word
document?
that has been used is not suspension. The word that has been used is abeyance. Both have very different meanings in law. Have you, my brother, have you actually gone
Okay,
through
since
the
you like
document?
reading documents, let me read a document to you. This has been
Yeah, of course.
published by as a resolution by the Pakistani state. Okay, I believe your Senate has sat and issued a resolution,
No, but let's first come to
and
your
they have
question,
said
brother.
that this is amounts to an act of war. Are we at war, sir?
Is trying to
You asked me to read documents. I'm reading a document which
jump
emanated from
ship.
your country. It says
Nobody's
this
going to
amounts to an act of
understand.
war. Are
Your
we at war
audience is
then?
not going to understand. Mr. Kohli is not going to understand. Mr. Gautam is not going to understand if we just keep going from topic to topic. If we need to
You are the
understand
one
each
going
other,
from topic
perhaps
to
we would
topic.
have to-
Do
we
you
should
know
have the
why
audience to let
the
the other
treaty
person
has
speak.
been held in
You might
abeyance?
not
What was the
like my
cause?
opinion, that is one thing. But
It's
you'll
not an
have to still
opinion,
hear
it's a
it if
question.
you've invited me.
Why has the
And if
treaty
you've
been held in
invited me
abeyance?
to not hear my opinion, then that shows, what sort of editorial freedom you have and what sort of editorial
Much more than
integrity
yours. Much more than yours. Why has the Indus
Then let me
Water
speak.
Treaty been
If
held
it's
in
much more
abeyance?
than mine, let me speak.
Why
You have
has
to
the
let me
Indus
speak.
Water Treaty been held in abeyance?
Yeah, of course, I'll give you the answer. This is a attempt that India has been trying to do since 2019, and it was first in 2019 that they wanted to basically have that residual water. But there are three things that you will have to understand. Number one, this is a treaty. Treaties under international law are a source of the law, especially under Article 36 of the Statute of the International Court of Justice. No one party can decide to either to suspend it or to hold in abeyance or
Really?
to ultimately terminate
Your
it.
government suspended the Simla
Especially-
Agreement yesterday.
and especially with the mediator being there, which is an international institution, you can't just go around and say, okay, you know what, we have this in abeyance. That is not
What
how the
happened
contract
day before
law works.
yesterday, sir?
That is not
What
how
happened on
treaty law
22nd
works.
of April?
Secondly, even if you wanted to do it, this is my understanding. Of course, you can go around and you can contradict me on this, you can deny it. But India, at this point in time, does not have the necessary infrastructure to do what.
No, that's
Mr.
don't worry about
Gautam
that. We'll
perhaps
build
was
that.
trying to
But what
employ.
happened on
You know,
22nd
we're going to
April?
stop the water. We're going to give them whatever is left. They're
What
gonna
happened
die
on
of
22nd
starvation.
April?
This could be a wish of some right-wing extremists for us to die of hunger or us to die of starvation.
No,
or of
we wish
thirst,
you a long
but this
life.
is not
I'm
going to
asking you
happen
what happened on
at all.
22nd
And
of April.
I know that your government understands this part. The only thing that they're still trying to play this card is to appease their domestic audience.
There is no
And if you wanna
card, sir.
appease-
What happened on 22nd April?
believe
I
in
don't know what you're
whatever you
talking.
want.
I'm
But
asking a
those
straight
will not be
question.
facts.
Come in.
What happened on 22nd
Those
April?
will not be facts. Now, if
That's
there's
a fact.
question, you can ask a question and I'll reply it. because
What
I'm
happened
not
on
finished
22nd April?
giving my
That's
answer.
what happened on
Yes,
22nd
go on.
April?
Come again. I
What
couldn't
happened
hear
on
you.
22nd April?
What happened on 22nd April? There was a terrorist incident. I condemn it completely, fully. But perhaps the first question should be, in the highest militarized zone in the world, how did this happen?
I agree
Perhaps
with you.
question your armed forces. How did this happen?
I agree with
Why
you.
did this happen?
Very serious
So
questions
much
have to be asked of how something like this
so
happened.
much of your manpower
And
budget
therefore,
there, how did this happen?
there have to be
And
very
I
serious
stand in line with
consequences.
you and
Okay.
I like to ask them, how did this happen? I do have the utmost sympathy
Okay.
for anybody who lost his life that day or anybody who suffered because of that incident. I condemn it completely. I'm not somebody who can.
We thank you for your
support
condemnation.
incident,
my-
but
my
perhaps
next
the
question, sir.
will be from your forces.
My next question is, you said that bilateral treaties cannot be ended unilaterally in such a way. Your government just ended the Shimla Accords as of yesterday. So, have they not read the clauses you are quoting to me?
I have not gone over that news, but I will stay with my international opinion, whether it applies to Pakistan or to India.
You are
International
not
law
aware of the
demands
fact that
you
the
to
Simla
be
Accord has been
committed.
suspended by your government yesterday?
I mean, if they've done it unilaterally without invoking a provision as India has done with the Indus Water Treaty, then that is not something that I can support, because that is not what international law would support.
Okay,
So
interesting.
I'm not a hypocrite to tell me
Okay,
that
interesting. Let me get
I would
Sharad
have a
Kohli back into
hypocritical
this
position
conversation.
like you would. I wouldn't.
Let me get Sharad Kohli back.
Perhaps a little sad for you to know.
Let me get Sharad Kohli back into this conversation. Dr. Kohli, so now the premise of this is not far-fetched, that we are not losing sleepless nights over Indus water, you and I. It is reasonable to say that the infrastructure, because we've held good to the treaty for 60 years, the infrastructure to actually do anything, as I mentioned at the beginning, I mentioned yesterday, I mentioned yesterday, we don't have the dams or the canals to move large parts of this water. We can build them. Will this then be a matter to lose sleepless nights over in Pakistan, for some people at least?
Well, definitely. I think to answer your question, which you are putting to Barrister Tahir, the answer is simply a one-liner, that blood and water cannot flow together. And I'm glad at least Barrister Tahir has some kind of spine to say that any unilateral decision. But then, if the terrorism is state-sponsored, it's the same government which is sponsoring terrorism, is the same government which is probably cancelling out the Simla agreement. So I think that's the point he's missing, that the people who are doing are same people. So the hypocrisy walks in. He was saying, I won't be a hypocrite, but this is being a hypocrite, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to delineate the people who sponsor terrorism and the people who cancelled the Simla agreement are the same people. I think this is the point which he's missing. As far as sleepless nights are concerned, just wait for a week, Rishabh. You will find desperation in Pakistan, especially the Punjab side, because water is life. If water stops flowing, as I said, this water is not just for irrigation, it is also being used for potable purposes. You will find the taps drying out, the wells drying out, the reservoirs drying out, and there's going to be chaos across Pakistan. What Pakistan is doing, it will pay for its sins. And I'm telling you something, that government is planning a retaliation. Definitely there is something which is going to happen. We've been talking about it since yesterday, ever after Prime Minister's speech. But this drying up of the water is going to have even a bigger effect than the military exercise. I can tell you with conviction.
Okay. So the reason we've been having this conversation was to highlight that point of information which happened less than 24 hours ago, but post the announcement by India about the Indus Water Treaty, that the canal works within Pakistan are now being stopped within 24 hours. So, while many people across the world do not understand really exactly the significance of this, most people I know in India will not understand the significance of this. People in Pakistan are understanding the significance of this very, very quickly. There is almost an immediate issue. They are considering this an act of war. They've passed a resolution calling it an act of war. They've started cancelling their projects within 24 hours. So, perhaps the gravitas of what is taking place, even though the actuality of it in the physical, topographical, geographical construction of what will now come will take time. The gravitas of this is not escaping at least a few people in Pakistan. Beyond that, it is impossible at all times. I have been doing this for 20 years, ladies and gentlemen. I found very few people in Pakistan with whom you can have a sensible conversation. It's just not possible. I had a guest just an hour back who insisted that 1971 was a draw. Then I showed the photograph of Niazi surrendering, unconditional surrender at Dhaka. But even then it was a draw. So there do exist people in the world who say that the Nazi Holocaust never happened, who will try to convince you that Germany won the Second World War. You can't talk reasonably with these people. I've stopped for several years. Sharad Kohli has done hundreds of hours of television with me. Almost never seen me with a Pakistani journalist in the past 5-6 years. For this reason, we sit and discuss robotics and 3D printing and space and where is our economy going and how will we be building the next port cities and how will we be doing investment. That's where India is going. We sometimes come and discuss that, okay, Pakistan is running out of cash. But that's always unhappy news, because it's impossible to discuss things with people who are such in deep denial about the world that we live in. It's really difficult, which is why I've avoided it. Circumstances have brought us that I've attempted that conversation once again today. Sharad Kohli, thank you. Barrister Ali, thank you very much for your thoughts on this. We take a break. See you in a minute.